Mr. President, the Obama economy has been pretty rough on our nation's young people. If you're a teenager looking for work over the summer break, or if you're a high schooler looking for a part-time job after school, well, good luck with that. The unemployment rate for 16 to 19-year-olds is 25%, which is near historic highs. If you're a college graduate, things don't look much brighter. In fact, the unemployment rate for 20 to 24-year-olds is over 13%. And it hardly needs mentioning at this point that many Americans are likely to see their hours cut or their jobs disappear altogether as Obamacare continues to come online. That's because so far we know the President's new health care law will impose about 20,000 pages of onerous regulations, and probably many more than that when all is said and done. Many of these regulations will hit small businesses, which create the majority of new jobs in our country. Many of these regulations will hit part-time workers very hard. For instance, the law punishes businesses if they allow employees to work too many hours. So it's no surprise when we read any one of these numerous stories about companies slashing hours. And it punishes businesses if they dare to give jobs to too many people. So of course, it will probably lead them to slash jobs or actually limit hiring. I'm sure the Washington Democrats who drafted Obamacare thought they were striking some blow here for quote unquote fairness with these job-crushing ideas. Well, now the youth of our country are finding out what Democrats' so-called fairness means for them, what it actually means for them. It means smaller paychecks or no paychecks at all. It must seem pretty unfair from where they stand, but it actually gets a lot worse. Many experts predict that Obamacare will also cause health care premiums to skyrocket, especially for younger Americans. Some studies show that young men in particular could see rate increases of 50% or more. Think about that. You work your tail off in high school just to get into a good college. You spend 4 years pulling all-nighters and cramming for finals, all for the privilege of putting on a gown, accepting your degree, and potentially spending who knows how long frantically searching to find work. Then if you're lucky, your hours get cut after you find a job. Or maybe your job gets cut altogether. You get a letter in mail that says, sorry, your premium's going up by double digits. Can't pay the higher premium? Too bad. If you don't, Uncle Sam slaps you with a penalty tax. And for all the talk of subsidies, the studies indicate that these payments from taxpayers might not even make up for the higher costs. Look, I'd be pretty disillusioned if I were in that position, and I think everyone else would as well. Well, it could get worse if Washington Democrats don't start getting serious about working with Republicans on student loans, too. As I mentioned last week, President Obama and Republicans actually agree in broad terms on the way forward for student loan reform. As the President's Secretary of Education told Politico just yesterday, my strong preference, this is the Obama administration Secretary of Education, my strong preference would be for a longer-term solution and not to just keep solving it this year and then next year and then the next year. So it's time for Senate Democrats to stop blocking us from enacting permanent reform because federal rates for new student loans are set to double if we don't act soon. Several Senate Democratic leaders have basically already admitted to the media that they'd rather have a failed bill that can morph into a campaign issue than a signed bill that can help 100% of students. Well, it's time for that to change. And they should assume, you really shouldn't assume younger Americans will be that easily tricked one more time in 2014. These young men and women may be drowning in the Obama economy, but it's not because they're dumb or lazy or apathetic. It's because of policies dreamed up here in Washington during the years of the Obama administration. And as the days go by, these young Americans are discovering just how unfairly Washington Democrats have treated them in the past few years.